Welcome to Impact and Influence, the podcast for real estate business owners and professionals who are ready to make a bigger impact, scale, have greater sustainability, and increase their influence. This series opens the door to the sharpest minds across the industry, including agency owners, advisors, and trusted partners who share real-world insights and lessons learnt. These are short, practical conversations designed to save you time, sharpen your strategy, and help you build a business by design, not by default. If you're responsible for growth, profit, client experience, leadership, recruitment, or retention, this podcast is your go-to for smarter choices and more decisive leadership. It's proudly presented by REGROWTH. We are a coaching and consulting business for the real estate arena. We help you build on capability, connection, and curiosity.
Wrapping up the year that was and leading into the year ahead, 2025 has been an incredible year for REGROWTH and our clients, and we are incredibly grateful for your support.
Since our inception, we've been tracking key metrics across all business units in a real estate operation. From our efficiency audits, competency reflections, and accountability meetings with our clients, we've assessed what has had the biggest impact on results, retention, growth, and profit. We've now been able to qualify these things into 12 key metrics that we'd like to share with you.
First one is appraisal and listing conversions. So think about how your appraisals are qualified, nurtured, and closed out in your system, and also the difference between a market update and an active appraisal. Is there clarity in your business on how that's tracked?
And I think, Loz, just make sure it's in there, right? People say to us all the time, oh, not all of our appraisals go in. There's really no excuse for that anymore, particularly with products that are out there in the market which automatically sync with your database. So it's very hard for us to track expenditure for the year ahead if we don't know where our appraisals are coming from. Yep. And then, as you said, if the conversion's low, then we know our guys need training in either the appraisal phone call, the process between appraisal and when we get to the house, or the pitch. You and I always say, practice on your colleague, not your customer. The next key metric, it sounds so incredibly basic, but when you concentrate on something, then results will come from that. But it's days on market, and not just days on market for sales. And I think very important to analyse days on market for private treaty and auction, but also to qualify the days on market between tenants for your rent roll. There's some great key metrics in the back end of your software, where you process your application forms, in the back end of REA and domain, for example, and then using your agency performance reports in your sales software. This will tell you if your team are having the right set for success or set for sell meetings, how we're educating our landlords when a tenant moves out of the property. Are we actually talking to them around competing stock on the market, not just what has been leased? So having a more informed conversation so we can reduce days on market, which has an impact on customer retention, right? So I'm going to stay with an agent if we've got reduced days on market for property management and for sales. Everyone wants the best result they can get in a minimum period of time, and that will have a direct impact on not only teams' incentives, but the business's cash flow. So days on market's a big one.
Okay, the next thing is tracking your loss management. And it's not just about tracking the number of loss managements each month, but also tracking the loss of revenue and your asset value that you're losing from your business every single month. The other thing that's really important in that space is to look at why we're losing them, and go back and look at your system and review what those reasons are, and are they accurate, and are they being utilised and used correctly, or do we still have in there other?
Yeah. Paints a picture. Our clients that are measuring new business, not just in numbers, but double AMI and overall revenue, are leaps and bounds ahead of their competition. And also remunerating your new business consultants the same.
Absolutely.
So half a week is a little bit boring. And for higher performers, they're looking at driving the revenue that they're signing. So looking at some creative concepts around percentage of turnover that they're bringing in is incredibly important. But I must say, with the monthly coaching and the courses we've been doing around high performers for BD, that's the one thing that we've noticed has had the biggest impact, not just the number of managements you're signing, but also the double AMI and the revenue it's bringing in.
Yeah, it drives quality over quantity, and that's what the high performers are looking at. The next thing we're tracking is wages as a percentage of turnover for each business unit, as well as looking at splits for agents on profit, not just break even, because you can be more flexible on this depending on your fixed cost coverage. And we find that many sales businesses are making little to no profit.
Key performance indicator, right? And guys, if you're using Xero, just get your CFO or your bookkeeper to turn on the percentages button in the back end of your P&L so you can always track it very quickly and very easily as a percentage of your turnover. It's a really good one to monitor.
Yep.
The next key indicator is leadership competency, tracking year on year, quarter on quarter, how your leaders are improving in their capability and the core functions that make them a great leader for their division. Leaders have to foster safety. They have to provide feedback loops. So giving and receiving feedback is incredibly important for leaders, and making sure that they're available and they're accessible and they're consistent in what they're doing and excellence of execution, being present and making sure that they're the best version of themselves. Culture is driven by accountability. Accountability is driven by leaders. So leadership competency, big one to focus on next year.
As well as competency for your team as well. So we're looking at leadership competency, but drill down into each area. So every single functionality, how are you tracking the competency? Not just once, but as Kyle said, every quarter we should be reviewing that because that gives you the learning and development plans and the focus areas for the year ahead.
Yeah. And Regrowth have got competency reflections for every single role within an organisation. So we're very happy to help out with that if we can.
Client experience is something that has been talked about a lot in our industry, and we're finding that there's two key areas that our clients are getting success from. First one is the post-settlement nurture plans for their clients. It's about elevating that client to a client for life, not just focusing on that one gift that's been given. And the second area is onboarding your new landlords. So how are you making that memorable in the first 30 days?
So I guess extending on from the client experience that you were mentioning, Loz, was finding out the friction points. Yep. So we're very good at asking for a rating and review in our industry. We've been working extremely closely with our clients on finding out what the bad stuff is so we can make it great. So if we don't ask what caused friction and how we can do things better, we can't fix it. So for us, it's been that one element of asking what were the friction points? If you were asked, what would you change and improve? And finding out what frustrated clients during the process so we can fix it and make it better. That's had a huge impact.
Because it's still on the client experience point, but speed to delivery is so important. And there's two key areas that we'd love you to focus on. First one is your turnaround time for processing applications. Most businesses that we find from doing our health checks.
Appalling.
Too direct, Carls, I'm joking. We ask the leasing team and they think it's fantastic at about 3 to 5 days. And as Kylie said, appalling. Has to be same day. Think about your client and their expectations. I know I would expect same day, 24 hours. Absolutely.
Yeah, great.
Nothing else.
Great KPI. And it's measured now in the back of most of the portals.
Second one is your pre-listing and how long that is taking to send out to your clients.
The partner proposal.
Yes.
Absolutely. That's had a massive impact on conversion too.
Absolutely. So again, your expectation from your client is that they're going to get that really quickly. So within the hour.
Hang up the phone. You tell me it's coming. I'm expecting it.
It's templated. Most of them. There's a little bit of work that we have to do, but get it out quickly. Don't wait hours to send that out to your clients because again, affects your conversion rates.
Yeah, get in front of your competition. Make sure it's a KPI for your administration team as well. Speed to market is incredibly important. Onto the homeward stretch. Our next key metric is energy. How do you measure energy, one would say? Really easily. Ask your team what their capacity is and what their energy is. Yeah. We do it all the time in the meetings. We do it all the time with our one-on-ones, coaching and accountability with our clients.
Rating out of 5, rating out of 10, whatever that is. How do they feel?
Just a pulse check.
Yep.
Our second last key metric, recruitment. It costs us so much money if we get it wrong. Yet, when we work with our clients and measure the capability and the competency and the collateral that our clients have got ready to go to market to recruit, it needs work.
Yep.
So I think a big thing is who is doing the recruiting? Is there a process to follow? Because we all know that great real estate performers have a world-class process. So what's your world-class process for recruitment mastery?
Yeah.
Is it packaged? So a bit like if you go into sales, you've got the scripts, you've got the pre-list, you've got the listing presentation, you've got the agendas. Recruitment's the same. You pitch for people like you pitch for property. There's a process, there's a nurture plan, but get the capability and the competencies right of the people who are doing recruitment and you'll get better outcomes and results.
But also, Kylie, the structure. So we put time into prospecting for clients. have you actually got time set aside? If recruitment is your focus for the next 12 months, when are you actually going to focus on that? So set aside time in your week to sit down and connect with agents that you're wanting to recruit.
Start with 30 minutes a week in the new year and see the difference. Failing to plan is planning to fail. Loz, our last key metric
is, funnily enough, all about planning. Let's look at what your real estate across the year looks like. So have you mapped out all of your team events, all of your marketing campaigns, training and self-development for your team? Everything that needs to happen, we can map that out over a 12-month process. Put in there the expectations around team meetings. Put in there the community events and the sponsorship and partnerships that you do so that it's visible for not just yourself when you're planning them out, what happens each month, and there's consistency across the year, but your marketing and your admin team can actually get organized and have that all planned well ahead of time.
And if you use the regrowth real estate across the year, we've also mapped that with seasonal considerations, but most importantly, what your customer wants and their behavior. So you can consider that around community connection, team prospecting, building your market share and setting the lay of the land for the year to have the best year that you can.
If you want a copy of that, you can download it from our website.
If you'd also like to plan your year for learning and development and give your team the best competitive advantage they can, please explore the Regrowth calendar on our website for all of our training, our events and our conferences for the year ahead.
We just want to say thank you. It's been a huge year. We appreciate your support of over 40 events this year, welcoming us into your offices and contributing to our world. So from Kylie and I and the team at Regrowth, thank you so much.
Thank you for letting us partner with you. And Merry Christmas. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Impact and Influence. Click follow to get notified about future episodes. Leaving a review helps others find the podcast. And to learn more about our courses, our study tours, conferences, keynote topics and our services, or how simply we might be able to help support you in taking you to places you never thought possible, please visit regrowthkyliewalsh.com.